Video of the solutions for the practice Year 11 General Maths Investing and Borrowing Test. So I'm doing it on the iPad, so the calculator situation is going to be a bit weird on the right. Just a reminder that you do get access to the TVM solvers that are linked to DayMap. So I'm going to be using this GeoGebra one, and also the effective rate calculator that's linked to DayMap as well, because there are questions on those two, and you all don't have graphics calculators. So Kanye, 13,500, offering an investment account, offering a flat 3.2% per annum, so it's simple interest. How much interest would he earn from the account after 5 years? So remember the simple interest formula that tells you the amount of interest, SI equals PRT. SI equals the principal, 13,500, times by the rate as a decimal, 0.032, times by the time in years 5. SI is going to be 13,500 times by 0.032 times by 5. 2160 interest from the account after 5 years. What would the total value of the account be after 10 years? So remember, the simple interest formula gives you the simple interest, not the total value. So we'll work out the interest first after 10 years of investment. So it's 13,500 times by 0.032 times by 10 this time. 13,500 times by 0.032 times by 10. 4320 in interest, but the total value is going to be what the principal was, which was 13,500, plus the interest, 4320, plus 13,500. That's going to be 17,820. Total value after 10 years. Kanye puts 5,000 into an account. That's important. Paying 4.1% simple interest. For how long would he need? So we're finding T to earn 5,000 in interest. The answer must be in years and months. So SI, it's a simple interest question, so we're using SI is equal to PRT. We are earning 5 grand in interest. The principal he put in was 5,000, so the amount of interest he wants to earn is the size of the principal, so that's going to take a while. And the time is what we don't know, so work out what we do know. We know 5,000 times by 0.041 is 205 times by T. I want to get T by itself, so the opposite of timesing by 205 is dividing by 205. That's going to cancel, so 5 grand divided by 205, 24.39 years to 2 decimal points. We want it in years and months, so we need to work out what 0.39 is in terms of months. There's 12 months in a year. 0.39 times 12, 4.68 months. So therefore, 24 years and 4.68 months. But it says to the nearest month, so 24 years, 5 months. That's your final answer, okay? Because it says nearest month. Kanye invests 2,500 into an account paying 2.92% interest compounding annually for 6 years. What would the investment grow to after 6 years? So as soon as it says compounding, you are using TVM solver. Turn the TVM solver on. He invests. So TVM solver is N, I, PV, PMT, FV, PY, CY. Leave N for now. The account is 2.92%, so we don't need to convert on TVM solver. We just put it in. invest 2,500 into an account. So on TVM Solver, if it moves away from you into an account, it's negative. So it's 2,500, negative 2,500 is PV. At year 11, we don't play with PMT. We want to know what it grows to, so FV is what we're solving for. It's compounding annually. So PY and CY at year 11 stay the same, and if something's compounding annually, happens once a year. And we're letting it compound annually for 6 years, so it's going to be 6 years times by the once per year of PY and CY, so N stays at 6. So I need to put all that info into the calculator. 2.92, PV is negative 2,500, PY and CY. So solve for FV, that gives us 2971.25, therefore grows to $2971.25. After the 6 years, how much interest has the investment generated? Well, we know what it grows to, so interest is equal to the final value, take the principal. So it grew to $2971.25, but I put in 2,500 in the first place. 2971.25, take 2,500. Interest is $471.25 in interest after 6 years. Kanye invested $45,000 in an account, paying 2.3% interest, compounding monthly 3 years ago. Find the future value of Kanye's investment. And it's a compound interest question, so straight away go TVM Solver. PMT is always going to be 0 at year 11. We want to find the future value, so put a star there. PY and CY are both the same at year 11. It's compounding monthly. How many times does a month happen in a year? 12 times. So PY and CY will both be 12. He put in 45,000, so PV is going to be negative 45,000. The interest rate is 2.3%. Compounding monthly 3 years ago. So 3 years, but it's happening 12 times a year, so it's going to be 3 times by 12, 36. So chuck those numbers in. 36. Interest rate of 2.3. PV is negative 45 grand. FV is what we're solving for. PY and CY are both 12. Solve for FV, we get 48,211.4. Therefore grows to 40. It's a bit longer than that, actually. 48,211.45 is the actual answer. 48,211.45 rounded to 2 decimal points. How much worse off would Kanye be if his account compounded quarterly instead? So this question is asking you to compare two situations. He's investing the same amount, 2.3. Negative 45 grand is what he's putting in. PMT is nothing. We want to see what it grows to, but what would happen if he put it into something compounding quarterly instead? So quarterly happens 4 times a year. So 3 years times by 4 is only going to be 12 compounding periods. 12, 2.3, negative 45 grand. This becomes 4. FV is 48,205.1. We want to know how much worse off here, so we're comparing 48,211.45 minus 48,205.1. 48,211.45 minus 48,205.1. $6.35. Worse off. Worse off by going quarterly. Kanye is looking away to invest his superannuation funds. He finds 3 banks with investment accounts offering the following rates. Notice they're all compounding. Compounding half yearly, 5 compounding quarterly, 4.98 compounding monthly. What are the effective interest rates? So you get access to an effective rate calculator. So the way you work those out is Bank 1. Bank 1, what do we enter? We enter into the effective rate calculator the nominal rate and how many times it compounds per year. So it tells me it's 4.9 and it's happening half yearly, so twice a year. So the effective rate is 4.96% to 2 decimal points. Bank 2, EFF, I'll write in Bank 3 as well. Bank 2 is 5% and it's compounding quarterly. So quarterly 4, 5, 4. That's rate is 5.09% to 2 decimal points, and then the last one, it says it's 4.98, but it's compounding monthly, happening 12 times a year. So, oh no, not 5. 4.98. 12 times a year, so that's going to be 5.09526. So that rounds to 5.10, rounded to 2 decimal points. Those are the effective rates. Into which bank should Kanye deposit his super account? Explain why. Bank 3, because it has the highest effective rate, so would earn the most interest. Bank 3, even though it didn't have the highest nominal rate stated here, because it compounds monthly, it actually earns the most with the highest effective rate. Kanye has a savings account, so it's a savings account question, 4.15%. Find the interest he earns from his savings account for the month of November. So all the information we need is in the table. So remember, simple interest on the daily balance. So T is going to be something over 365. And we need to do it for every different balance. There's 3 balances here. So 3 different calculations. So remember, it is for all the days inclusive of that balance. So the 1st to the 3 of November. Why not 4? Because it changed on the 4th. There was a deposit made on the 4th, so we need to do 1 to 3. How many days is that? 1 to 3 days. SI is equal to the balance, 2640. Times by the interest rate as a decimal, 0.0415, times by the time in days, well, time in years, that's going to be 365. So 3 divided by 365 first, then times it by 0.0415, then times it by 2640, and we get 90 cents to 2 decimal points. 4 to the 18th of November. How many days is that? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That's 15 days, inclusive of the end and the start. SI is equal to the balance, which was 2885, times by 0.0415, times by 15 out of 365. Calculator 15 divided by 365 times by 0.0415 times by 2885 comes to $4.92 to 2 decimal points for that second little bit. November is a how many day month? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. November's between two knuckles, so it's a 30-day month. Count the days: 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. That's 12 days. SI is equal to the balance, which is 2995 times by 0.0415 times by the 12 out of 365. 12 divided by 365 is a number, times by 0.0415 is a number, times by 2995. We get, can't even write a dollar sign, $4.09 to 2 decimal points. Therefore, total interest 0.9 plus 4.92 plus 4.09, 0.9 plus 4.92 plus 4.09, $9.91 in November. Kanye obtained a 20 grand line of credit. August 16, interest rate 7.55%. He only withdrew on August 18, withdrew another 2,500 on August 30, withdraw another 6,700 on September 27. Calculate the amount of interest he pays for August. So this is very similar to a savings account, but it's interest on the withdrawn amounts. Okay? He only opened the line of credit on August 16. And he didn't withdraw anything. So 16 to the 16th to 17th August, which is 16, 7, 2 days. No interest. Why? He didn't withdraw anything. However, the 18 to, he withdrew on August 30th, so 18 to 29 August. How many days was that? 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. No, I counted too far. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. That's 12 days. I count on my fingers. How much has he withdrawn? He withdrew 8 grand. So SI is equal to 8,000 times by the rate as a decimal, 0.0755 times by the time in years, which is 12 over 365. 12 divided by 365 is a number, times by 0.0755 is a number, times by 8 grand, pays 19.86. Interest to 2 decimal points, that first little section. And you have to do it per month. He withdrew another on August 30th. So 30 August, and August is a 31-day month, so 31 August. 30, 31, 2 days. Simple interest is equal to, he had 8,000 withdrawn, but he withdrew another 2,500. So that's 10,500 that he has withdrawn at this point. So P is going to be 10,500 times by 0.0755 times by the 2 days at the end of August. 2 divided by 365 times by 0.0755 times by 10,500. $4.34 to 2 decimal points. Therefore, interest in August is going to be $19.86 plus $4.34, $19.86 plus $4.34, $24.20. It's question 7A. B, calculate the amount of interest Kanye must pay for the month of September. He withdrew another $6,700 on September 27th. So 1 of September to 26th September. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. That's 26 days. He still had $10,500 out, so simple interest is equal to 10,500 times by the rate as a decimal, 0.0755 times by the 26 out of 365. Yeah, 26 divided by 365 is a number times by 0.0755 is a number times by 10,500. $56.47 to 2 decimal points. And then you have a little bit of September 27 to September is a 30-day month. 27, 28, 29, 30. That's 4 days. Remember, it's inclusive. Count on your fingers if you need to. Withdrew another 6,700. So you had 10,500, but 6,700 more. 10,500 plus 6,700. 17,200 withdrawn in total for the last 4 days of September. So 17,200 times by the rate as a decimal times by 4 out of 365. 4 divided by 365 times by 0.0755 is a number times by 17,200. $14.23 to 2 decimal points. Therefore, interest in September is $56.47 plus $14.23. Missed the dollar sign. $14.23. $56.47 plus $14.23. $70.70. Kanye goes for a shopping spree in his own store. Sounds like him. Buys $2,500 worth of clothes on his credit card. So it's a credit card question. On January 15, he purchases new shoes on credit for $600 on January 23. January 15, receives a statement on January 27, has 25 days until Feb 20 to pay back the credit card used. He has an interest rate of 17.5% per annum. What's the effective interest-free period for the clothes? For the clothes Kanye bought, so we're talking about the clothes specifically. He bought the clothes on January 15. Clothes, Jan 15. Feb 20 to pay back. It's a credit card question, so you do not count the day of purchase. So we need to count January to the end of January. So January is a 31-day month because it's on a knuckle. So 15 is not counted. 16 starts counting. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. I've got 16 days in Jan. And then you've got Feb 20 to pay it back. So you've got 20 days in Feb. That is 36 days. Interest free. On the clothes, what's the effective interest-free period for the shoes? So shoes, when did he buy the shoes? Jan 23. Feb 20 to pay back. So remember, counting in credit cards again, you don't count the first day. January was a 31-day month, so 23 not counted. 24 starts counting, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. That's got 8 days in Jan, and then the 20 days in Feb. 28 days interest free. If Kanye pays the credit on both purchases on Feb 28, which is late, how much interest will be charged? You need to do the thing separately because they were bought on different times. So clothes, we already counted 16 days in Jan. But then he paid them back on the 28th, so 28 days in Feb. And remember, interest is calculated from the day of purchase if you're late, not from the date that you needed to pay it back, which was the 20th. So 16 plus 28, you've got 44 days since the purchase of those clothes. So now you can do SI is equal to the clothes purchase price 2,500 times by the interest rate as a decimal 0.175 times by the time in years, which is 44 over 365. 44 over 365 is a number, times by 0.175 is a number, times by 2,500. You got $52.74 to 2 decimal points. 52.74. And the shoes, we already said it was 8 days in Jan, and then the 28 days in Feb, because you paid them off on the 28th. 28 plus 8. 36 days. SI equals, the shoes were 600 times by 0.175 times by 36 on 365. 36 divided by 365 is a number, times by 0.175 times by 600. You got $10.36 to 2 decimal points. So how much interest charged, therefore total interest $52.74 plus $10. I always miss the dollar sign, $10.36. $52.74 plus $10.36, $63.10. Interest is charged. Question 9. Kanye's got 12 grand set aside from his last fight. That was a long time ago. He's researched 2 different banks. Kanye's quite happy to put the 12 grand away for 1 year to let it grow. Based on the rates above, use calculations to work out which of the banks is better. So let's split it. Balance bank, cash credit. Balance bank, interest is calculated on the daily balance, so you have to look at the conditions, and it's credited monthly and reinvested. So if it's, as soon as it says reinvested, we're talking about compound interest. It's 12 grand, so we're talking here, and it's for 1 year, so 12 months, so we're talking a rate of 2.5. So N, interest rate is going to be 2.5. PV, he's going to put away 12,000. PMT is nothing at year 11. FV is what we want to solve for. We're just working out how he's going to be better off. PY, CY. It's credited monthly, so it's compounding 12 times a year. It's 1 year, 12 times a year, it's going to be 12. So TVM solver. 12 interest rate 2.5, PV negative 12,000. FV is what we're solving for. PY is 12 times a year. Solve for FV. We get 12,303.4, not 40, it's 46. I can barely see that. To 2 decimal points. Cash credit union. Interest calculated daily balance. It's paid monthly directly to the investor. So as soon as you see that, we're talking simple interest. It's 12 grand. So it's in this, and it's for 1 year. It's a lower rate, 2.4. So SI is equal to the principal, 12,000, times by the rate is a decimal, 0.024, times by the time in years, 1. Just a normal calculator needed, 12,000 times by 0.024. We get $288 in simple interest. So what would that actually grow to? Therefore, total is 12,288, which is smaller than this. So therefore, use which bank? Use balance bank as it grows more. Up to $12,303.46. Okay, to answer the question, Kanye decides he's very happy with the term deposit he's taken out with a bank chosen in A, so he's staying with Balance Bank. He decides to put the end result of this investment, so it grew to $12,303.46. He wants to put it in the same bank for a single year, calculate the amount of interest he makes from his final 1 year term deposit. Well, it's 12,303, so it's still in this range here. He's doing it from 1 more year, so nothing changes with the settings, just the amount. So N is still going to be the 12. Interest rate is still going to be 2.5. This time he's putting the end result, so he's going to chuck in 12,303.46. No payments. It's going to grow. PY is still 12. CY is still 12 because he's staying with the bank. So lucky for me, I can't, this calculator's acting weird. 12, 2.5, negative 12,303.46. No payments. This is 12. Solve for FV, so that gives me 12,614.6. 6 watt. It's just 0.6. 0.60 to 2 decimal points. Calculate the amount of interest he makes. Well, interest is equal to the final amount, 12,614.6, minus what I put in, 12,303.46. 12,614.6 minus 12,303.46. It makes $311.14 interest. Next, C. Kanye owns a lot of money. He's a musician, producer, and general rap superstar. That's questionable now. There's a yearly income of $200,000. Using the tax table below, calculate the after-tax return on his interest in the final 1 year term deposit. So we know he earned $311.14 in interest. I want to see how much tax that is. To know the tax, we need to know what his income is. So he makes $200,000, but he also earned $311.14 interest. So therefore, $311.14. What tax bracket is that? That's in the $180,001 and over bracket. So tax is equal to the interest earned times by the tax rate as a decimal, 0.45. 311.14 times by 0.45. $140.01 to 2 decimal points. After tax return, what amount of money he's supposed to get from his interest after he's been taxed is the $311.14 minus the $140.01 that the government takes. I do not want to do a review. 311.14 minus 140.01. $171.13 after tax return. For Kanye, Georgina, my coffee's getting cold, I better drink some. Georgina invested 20 grand in account, 6.2% per annum interest, compounding monthly for 3 years. Inflation was 1.8% per year over this time. What's the future value of the investment? This is compound interest situation, so N, compounded monthly for 3 years, so I'll leave that until after. Put in an account that was 6.2, PV was 20 grand, so chucked in. 20,000 into an account, so it's negative 20,000, PMT, nothing at year 11. We want to find the future value, so put a star next to FV, PY, and CY. Compounding monthly, so both of those are 12. 3 years, but it's 12 times a year, so N is going to be 36. Clear, 36. Interest was 6.2. Negative 20 grand. 12. Both 12. Solve for FV, we get $24,076 and it's 90 something. 91 to 2 decimal points. Therefore, it is $24,076.91 after 3 years. Find the value of 20 grand indexed for inflation. So the inflation formula indexed for inflation is equal to the PV times by 1 plus the inflation rate as a decimal to the power of N, which is the number of years of inflation. I want to index 20 grand for inflation, so PV is 20,000 times by 1 plus the inflation rate. The inflation rate was 1.8%, so 0.018. Number of years of inflation was 3. So use BEDMAS. 1 plus 0.018 first is 1.018. I need to raise that to the power of 3, which it looks like I can't. Looks like I can't do that with the calculator settings that I've got. With this recording on. So 1.018 to the power of 3 is just itself times by itself 3 times. So 1.018 times by 1.018 times by 1.018. That comes to 1.0549, etc. And then I times it by 20 grand. That comes to 21,099.56 to 2 decimal points. That's the value index for inflation in dollars. Find the real rate of return on the investment. So if you got the steps from the lesson, N is the number of years, which is 3. I is what you're solving for. PV is the indexed amount for inflation as a negative, which we got as 21,099.56. PMT is nothing. FV is what the investment grew to, which we worked out in part A, which was 24,076.91. PY and CY are both 1. So TVM solver, clear. 3 negative 21,099.56, 24,076.91. Solve for I, we get 4.5. Therefore, real rate of return, considering the effect of inflation. So technically, even though the bank says it grew from 20 grand to $24,076.91, the fact that the price of everything would have gone up over time because of inflation, it grew from this 21,099.56 to this. So it didn't grow as much as you thought. It really grew. And that rate of growth was 4.5% per annum, considering inflation. Okay? I don't think there's any more questions. That's the solutions for the practice test, which is closer to the real thing. Hopefully that helped you out. See you in the next video.